What if I told you that most language learning methods ignore how your brain actually works? Today, we'll explore neuromethodology, an approach that aligns language learning with brain science. This could transform how you learn a new language and make the whole process much easier. Intrigued? Let's dive in. Did you know that your brain processes language through two distinct systems, implicit and explicit? Implicit learning is similar to how children naturally acquire their first language, through observation, trial and error, and real-world communication situations. It's an intuitive process that develops naturally through exposure and practice. On the other hand, explicit learning is what we typically experience in traditional schools, where we study formal rules, grammar terms, and memorizing vocabulary lists. Most language courses focus 80% on explicit learning, but successful learners do the opposite. Understanding this difference is the first step to faster, more natural language acquisition. Why do some translations feel off? A fundamental aspect of this approach is learning language patterns rather than word-for-word translations. Different languages express ideas through unique patterns that often can't be directly translated. For example, while in English we say, "I am 30 years old," speakers of other languages might use entirely different constructions, such as, "I have 30 years." Understanding these patterns is crucial for natural language acquisition. When we immerse ourselves in a language, our brains pick up on these patterns automatically, which is why exposure and practice work better than memorizing translations. How can you build fluency with what you already know? Once you learn a basic pattern, you can expand upon it. For instance, if you learn how to express "I want to eat," you can naturally progress to variations like "you want to eat," "they don't want to eat," "I want to eat an apple," and so on. This pattern expansion helps you understand the language structure without needing a textbook. Practice creating similar sentences with different words. It's a fast track to conversational fluency. Ever felt nervous about making mistakes in a new language? One of the most valuable principles is the permission to speak imperfectly from the very beginning. Even native speakers make mistakes but communicate effectively. The key is focusing on communicating rather than getting every word right. The brain learns faster through trial and error than through careful study. Mistakes are part of the process and can even speed up learning. Why learn language parts separately when they're always used together? Instead of studying topics in isolation, try learning language as a complete system. Each sentence combines verbs, nouns, and pronouns, so learning them together in context helps your brain build a natural flow. Begin with simple conversational patterns, then gradually add complexity. You need to focus on improvement, not perfection. Do you really need to learn every grammar term to speak a language? The method suggests that we don't need to know complex grammatical terminology to speak a language effectively. Most native speakers use complex grammar daily without ever knowing the formal rules, yet they use them perfectly. While some understanding of grammar rules can be helpful for adult learners, focus on how the language works in real situations rather than trying to memorize every rule. While this approach emphasizes natural acquisition, similar to how children learn their first language, it's important to note that adult language learning can benefit from some explicit instruction. The key is finding the right balance between immersive, intuitive learning and structured guidance, adapting the method to your personal learning style while maintaining focus on practical communication skills. Instead of just studying, add language exposure to your daily routine. Listen to music, podcasts, or watch short videos in the target language. While cooking, play a video in the language you're learning. Your brain will start picking up phrases naturally. Narrate your daily activities in the new language. It sounds simple, but this builds speaking confidence fast. Example: while driving, describe your day out loud as if talking to a friend. Use basic sentences and expand gradually. Use language apps or chatbots to have practice conversations. AI won't judge your mistakes, so it's a safe way to improve. Example: chat with an AI app daily and try introducing new patterns or phrases you learned. Engage in simple conversations, even if it's just asking for directions or ordering food in your target language. Example: If you're learning French, order your coffee in French next time. Small interactions help you build confidence and fluency. You now understand why traditional language learning often fails, and more importantly, how to work with your brain's natural learning system. By focusing on patterns instead of rules, embracing imperfection, and creating regular practice opportunities, you can achieve in months what many fail to accomplish in years. Start today by choosing just one of the practical steps we covered. In the comments, share which practice technique you're going to try first. Happy learning!